Hey guys, it's Cash Cooper with the Shiftaltparadigm podcast, and today we are going to talk about developing a perspective of reality that allows you to maintain a perpetual state of joy regardless of what comes up and what you're faced with. I know that sounds hard because we all get upset about all kinds of myriad of things, but I assure you that it's possible. I haven't quite mastered it. There's one thing in my life that can still get my vibration out of whack, but for the rest of them, that I'm good, and I'm going to share my perspective with you because this is required to ascend, guys. If you're still getting upset about stuff, then you have not passed the graduation test. The test is to demonstrate that you are fully aware that you're whole and complete and need nothing from the outside, because the outside is all of you too, and that you're God. And then B, it would be that's because of this knowing that there's nothing you need because you are everything, and that you're whole and complete, and that you're God, and that everything that happens to you is something you planned or your soul has planned, and it's for your learning and best interest. This divine perfection of reality should enable you to stay joyful, and it's when you can demonstrate that and renounce everything physical, because you are everything physical. Everything on the inside of you creates what's on the outside of you. Demonstrate that you know that by not needing anything, any attachments or anything physical, and demonstrate you know that by maintaining your joy. That's the final exam, as well as becoming service to others, because you're serving yourself, because they're God, so are you. So serving them is serving self. Those things are required to ascend, and the vibrational portal to New Earth is 40 hertz probably. It is a vibrational portal from what I understand, which means that your vibration has to be high to go through it. And since on the day of the event there might be something occurring that would scare a lot of us, it's an issue that we may lose our vibration and not be able to go through that portal. So we all need to, imagine that day, imagine that situation, and get used to the idea of something very dramatic happening. And I've been told that you need to tell everyone you know that if they see something crazy like a wall of fire coming, to face it without fear. Turning away in fear will give it the ability to hurt you. That's a big deal. There's a lot of people on this planet that qualify right now to ascend that don't know anything about spirituality, just because they're a naturally high vibrational good person. But they don't know about the event, and they're going to turn away in fear, and that will cost them their ascension. I don't know if that's true. It's just something I heard, and they said to spread the word, tell everybody to face it. So enough about that. Let's talk about this perspective that we all have to have. And this perspective also, by the way, protects you from energy vampires. Once you clear your auric field, if you can stay radiant in a state of joy all day, they cannot interact with you because you're not even in their dimensional level. It's only when you drop your vibration and get upset that they can jump on you, and then they kind of control you. You don't think they are, but they are. So this is very important for a number of reasons. Okay, traumas. A lot of us have traumas we haven't gotten over. They're keeping us from moving forward. They keep coming up. They plague us. Okay, traumas are planned by you and your soul family before you incarnate. You meet with your guides. You develop a plan for your shortcomings in the last lifetime, what you need to work on, what needs to happen in order to balance the imbalances from the last lifetime, and you come up with a plan, and then you take it before the council and get it approved. Now, most of that plan involves a myriad of traumas being inflicted upon you by not your enemy, not some people playing the dark side, but your soul family, or at least your monadic family. And they don't want to do bad things to you, but they know that it's important for your growth, so they agree when you beg them, and then they contract to do it to you. So the reality is that most of the people who have traumatized you aren't strangers and enemies that you need to despise. It's people in your soul family who love you enough to have done those things to you because they know that you needed it for your growth and because you asked them to. Nay, begged sometimes, because a lot of them really don't want to do the bad stuff. So there, we can dispense with the traumas. All of your major milestone traumas are set. You have free will for the day-to-day stuff, but on that stuff, your free will was already exerted on the soul level in the spirit realm before you incarnated. It is not exerted here. So you will face those traumas no matter how hard you try to deviate from them. Your angels and guides will synchronistically get you back there. And I've tried to assist people on their spiritual path and help them avoid stuff, not with that intent, but it would have avoided stuff if I could have just told them the answers. And there are rules in place against that, guys. Like, these people cannot hear me. If what I'm trying to tell them would affect one of those milestone traumas, it's like they're deaf. It's like I'm speaking Japanese. They can't even hear me. So universal law has protection processes in place to make it to where you cannot interfere in someone else's spiritual path if it involves avoiding those milestone traumas. So you can set those aside and just forget all about them because they didn't happen to you. You're not a victim. It's impossible to be a victim in this life because everything that happens to you was either planned by you and your team, or you've attracted it with your vibration and thoughts and feelings and imagination. Whatever you think about and focus on manifests. So if you keep thinking about what you don't want to happen, getting a disease or getting in a car wreck or the cabal blowing the place up, you keep focusing on that, and all you're doing is manifesting it. You will be part of the problem. It'll be your fault that you got sick. My mother died from that. She was a hypochondriac, and she just pretended to have all these illnesses, and eventually she got all those illnesses because she manifested them, and they ended up killing her. So it's not just hocus pocus. I mean, the proof's right there in the placebo effect. Do you think the sugar pill is what's healing people? No, they are healing themselves by believing that they're healing themselves, believing that something's healing them. Forget the pill. If you could make them believe that they took a sugar pill without taking the sugar pill, they would still heal because they believed it. So that's a shame that we give all the credit to some sugar pill when the truth is every human is capable of healing themselves simply with their thoughts and imagination and emotions. You're also capable of creating anything that you want out of thin air even. That's a little harder to do in third dimension, but it's really easy in fifth dimension. You just visualize what you want, give it detail, hold your vision for a couple minutes, and then pull it down into reality. Or if it's not a thing, then you focus on the outcome. If you want to be financially stable and have a boat or whatever, then you imagine yourself on that boat. You try to picture it so clearly that you feel like you're there. And it's when you have the emotion that you're there, the real emotion that your heart pumps out, that's like sending a certificate of authenticity to your brain that it's true. And when your brain snaps into believing it's true, that's when manifestation starts happening very rapidly. When your heart and your brain, your thoughts and your emotions become one, which is what Jesus taught, then you can move a mountain. Especially if you put action behind it that matches. That's when you start acting like it's already true. The definition of manifestation is to believe that whatever you wish to manifest is already manifest, have the feeling that it's true, and give thanks and gratitude for it. Act as if it's already occurred. So that is fantastic. We don't need to be unhappy that we're God-given, creative, powerful beings just like God, because we are God and we can become God in this lifetime. So joy should be the result of that knowing. What else? Did you also know that like God loved us so much, he separated himself into many souls, and that's what we are, is a little piece of God. Did you know that you can do the same? It fractals down. If you love a pet enough, then part of your soul breaks off and gives the pet a soul, and then it will reincarnate near you every time. I think that's amazing. It's as above, so below. The whole reality is as above, so below, fractaling down with self-similarity to every level. So you can always look to, above for what's below. You can look to whatever's next to you for how it is above you and below you. It's really interesting. Okay, more about why we should be joyful. People that are not on the same path as you, that irritate the piss out of you, that are in your family even, and you're trying to help and you can't get them to change, you can't get them to care about anything you care about, you think they're going to die when the event happens, whatever it may be, they are on their own journey, okay? It is against universal law for you to interfere with their journey, trust me. And to an extent, it is a lot of our responsibility to teach them, but wait till they ask you twice. First time they ask you, it's their mind is interested. They're noticing that you got something else going on. If they ask you again, it means their heart is open and interested. Then they will hear you if you say it. That's what a lot of people say is the rule. Maureen St. Germain is where I learned it, and I think it's a good policy. Going around trying to force your beliefs on other people is not going to work. I've tried it. It's not appropriate either. They're on a path, and they're not to be given the answers. Otherwise, the lessons that they are supposed to learn to overcome those obstacles that they plan for themselves won't occur because you gave them the answer. So respect that. People that aren't where you're at and keep acting in a way that you don't understand, that upsets you, realize that they're acting exactly how they're supposed to be acting for where they are. You acted that way when you were at that level. Maybe they're not old souls, and a lot of them are here specifically to teach you lessons. There are a lot of entities here whose life purpose is surrounding either guarding another one of us who's on an ascension path, or teaching one of us a good lesson, like dying, so we learn how to deal with that, or all kinds of things. There's a lot of people here as placeholders as well. Placeholders, so when you need to see a certain reality to learn a certain important lesson, it looks correct. And that's what they're here for. They're not less important, because we play those roles sometimes too. It's just their turn to play as an extra and create the vision, the set that some of us need to see in order to play out a situation where learning takes place. And then there's a lot of them who are actually NPCs. They are phantoms. They don't have a soul in their body. The soul's already left or never was, or they're inhabited by astral beings, or they're avatars from alien races who can't come down here, but they can dang sure send their bio android down here. There is a long list of different types of humanoid beings on this planet that are not like you, and they're not going to act like you, and you're not going to be satisfied with your interaction with them as you talking to something just like you. And trust me, I very rarely run into somebody who they accept me like I accept them, and they understand me and I understand them as being a different version of me. It doesn't happen. Don't expect outcomes when interacting with humanity to be ones of you getting self-validation through talking with somebody who is just like you, because we as light workers are on a way higher path, and there's not a whole lot of us, and we were spread out on the planet. So the chances of you running into a bunch of us are slimmer than you think. I've never run into one. I'm still alone in this reality, completely alone. I don't have one person in my life who believes anything I believe, who is interested in anything I'm interested in, who supports me in any of these endeavors, who doesn't think I'm crazy, or who simply writes me off as soon as I open my mouth because they think I'm crazy. This includes my family and children. So don't expect to be made happy and satisfied by your interactions with other humans. We're to observe, we're to have compassion, and offer guidance when asked for. And here, when the event happens, we're to show the way, and they'll be looking for us, and we'll be a beacon of knowledge. We'll be like the information center at the mall, and they'll know to come talk to us about what's going on. So that covers that. You should never be unjoyful about people not being like you. They're not supposed to be. Your job is to demonstrate the right way to be so they can follow, not change them into something like you, not talk them into something like you. Be the person that you want them to be. Be the change that needs to happen on the planet. Walk the walk, and they will start walking like you. That's the methodology, because you don't need to open your mouth to activate somebody. Your toroidal field is like 50 feet around you, and if you're ascended, if you're high vibrational, then just walking near people silently activates their consciousness. It's just your being in the correct vibration that helps. More things to be joyful about. Here's a big one. Now, a lot of us just can't get past the atrocities that the cabal are committing, like harvesting adrenochrome from children. That involves kidnapping a child. That involves, in order for the adrenochrome to be produced, they have to be under trauma when it's harvested. That means that these children are being raped and tortured while they are killing them to harvest this adrenochrome, which is a drug which keeps them looking youthful even in old age. That's horrendous, absolutely horrendous, and it's got a lot of us completely out of whack, and we just can't take it. Okay, I know, sounds impossible to be joyful about, but hear me out. That and every other atrocity that the dark side plays on us are all gifts of catalyzation. They're all part of the plan to ascend the human race into the fifth dimension with our human bodies successfully for the first time in history, and it requires a escalating speed and rate of ascension, an escalating speed and rate of time passage, a collapsing of all timelines into one, a raising of our vibration like exponentially, all these extrapolating energies and modalities like occur by the means of the increasing level of catalyzation that we are faced with the cabal, the level of manipulation, the wars, the craziness that's going on. We are catalyzed more and more and more by the more and more trauma that occurs by all these atrocities. Now, that's the only way for our ascension to speed up with the timelines and match it, and for everything to be in coherence and everything to be, like synergistically in harmony as it ramps up. So these are souls just like you. These aren't negative entities. These are souls and angels that have incarnated as the dark side to play the roles of the dark side, to get that experience and to provide the service to the light side for catalyzing us into growing spiritually at a very fast rate. Because you know what? We don't have the luxury of having a long time to evolve and raise our vibration here at the end of the third cycle. Unfortunately, we were screwed, and the cabal kept all the esoteric information for themselves, and we had a loss of consciousness thousands of years ago that reset us. So we didn't have the usual hundreds of thousands of years for our consciousness to reach the fifth dimension. We had to start over, and it was thought impossible for us to get back to being a contender for ascension. There was a time and place for our Armageddon, and we barely hit the marker, and then Cryon and the grid group came at the harmonic convergence in 1987 and realigned the magnetic grid for ascension, but we were set to be eradicated. We barely made it, and we barely made it because of all of the additional energies to make us ascend faster. One of them being all of the extra catalyzation. Catalyzation, when I say that, I mean friction. I mean pain. Friction is the catalyst for all adaptation, positive growth, change, evolution, everything. In this universe, on this planet, the reason for evolution is pain, or friction, if you want to put it that way. We don't change unless we're uncomfortable. If we're born into a reality to where we're rich, all our problems are solved, we never have a adversity not one day in our life, we don't grow one iota. And that is not the purpose of incarnation. So friction is desired. You should face all your problems with a smile and look for the lesson to be learned, because the more you can find, the faster you're evolving. So be grateful for the cabal. Be grateful for those souls that agreed to take on the karma of all their dark actions and have to reincarnate because of it, probably, to provide us these services so we can make it in time, so we can raise our vibration and evolve in time before the end of the cycle, so we can have our ascension. Without all that crazy catalyzation, we never would have made it. There's souls waiting to incarnate here by the droves, and because they know that here you can get done in a year what takes lifetimes on another planet, because there's so much catalyzation. This is like graduate school. This is MIT of the soul schools. And not only is it MIT, it's at the end of a third cycle. So there's tons of additional ascension energy being sent here from all of our sister planets out there, from the Galactic Federation, from the ships, from God, from the Mahatma, from everything. So the ability that we have here on this planet, because of the dark side's catalyzation and all the energies, ascension energies, and all the mass ascension windows and whatnot, makes this planet the most desirable for growth and for the possibility of ascending in one lifetime. And we've been preparing for this for lifetimes. And this lifetime is the one that most of us had planned on finishing. But there's no way we could finish without all of that ramping up catalyzation and pain day in, day out, trauma day in, day out, uncomfortableness, friction day in, day out. Always growing, always overcoming challenges, always learning how strong we are because we overcame another thing. Trust me, guys, that's best case scenario to the Tits power. It's to be grateful. You should be grateful for it. You should thank them. We should invite them to step out of those roles and join us here in the Golden Age if they can see the truth that they are playing roles, and they can step out of them and be the angels that they incarnated as. So that there goes the negative emotions associated with the cabal and all their actions. Their actions are causing us to be able to reach our ascension in time, and causing us to do what has never been done before, which is ascend in the body to the fifth dimension. Wouldn't be possible without their catalyzation. It is a perfect reality. God does not make a lot of mistakes, y'all. We may have free will, or seemingly have free will. Most of it's exerted on the soul plane, but trust me, there's divine perfection in it too. And all of this big experiment game / illusion / school would not play out the way it needs to play out without every component. So be grateful and relax in the knowing that it's all for a reason. Give thanks, have compassion for them. Besides, if you don't, and you can't forgive them and accept them, well, you're not ascending anyway, because those energies will keep you from a fifth dimensional vibration. Resentment and unforgiveness and anger and all of that is not joy, and I think we all know that. And a joyful vibration is what's required. That's why I'm sharing this with you. Okay, so we've covered the cabal and all the atrocities on earth and why those make us happy now instead of sad. What else makes us upset? Well, what makes me upset is the momentary irritation by people I care about. That's the hardest one for me, is when people that are close to me react to me in a way that I don't expect, or say something absurd that hurts my feelings. that's when I lose my vibration momentarily, sometimes. But I'm learning that if I can just live in the moment, that every single time that happens to me, I can recognize it later on that day or a few minutes after I lose my vibration is exactly what I needed at that time to practice more on holding my vibration. Evidenced by the fact that I lost my vibration by it means it's exactly what my soul sent to me to help me get there, to help me finally pass that test, to give me more practice in the area needed so I can finally hold my vibration so I can go to the new earth. These momentary things that keep occurring that upset us every time, that's why they keep occurring, because we're not passing the test, because it upsets us every time. That we need to practice, so it's going to keep happening. Like right now, we're all being tested. The thing that irritates you the most is going to be occurring all the time, because that's your weak spot, and you have to be able to hold your vibration in a state of joy, even in your weak spots, in order to ascend. Otherwise, what's going to happen when you're on a fifth dimensional planet and something happens that sends you back to a third dimensional vibration? What do you think is going to happen when the third dimensional Earth is done and gone? Right. You have to prove that you can live there without that happening before you can go there. So anything that's happening that upsets you, recognize it as a test, because that's what it is. Your guides are testing you. And if you can acknowledge it as that and just smile at it and pass it, they will stop happening. So that was the one that took me the longest to find a perspective of, that allowed me to not be as moved negatively by them. What else? I'm trying to think of other things that most people get upset by, because I have an answer for all of them. I don't plan out these videos. These podcast guys, they're all just ad-libbed, improved. So leave comments. Let me know what ails you so I can help you find a perspective of it that allows for joy. And I will. And we'll come back to this topic because it is one of the most important ones. So we're not upset about dying because we know that we reincarnate, right? That's never going to happen. We aren't going to be upset with other humans acting different than us because we appreciate diversity and respect the fact that everyone's on their own path, and that they're here to actually teach us lessons by making us upset and give us the practice we need to hold our vibration. They're in service to us, and you ask them to do it possibly. So we're not going to be upset by that. We're not upset by the cabal, the government, all the atrocities, the child sacrifice, because the only way that we're going to ascend in time with the deficit that we had and without the knowledge that we should have had that was kept from us is by being catalyzed to the Tits power, like super catalyzed by lots of trauma. So we're grateful for that. We have to stop it, but it'll be stopped at the exact right time that we don't need it anymore. That'll be how that plays out. So we're grateful for all of that. We have compassion for that because they're taking on the karma too of doing that service for us. We don't have to take on karma to do our jobs. Our jobs are light. Their souls having to do a dark job and get basically punished for it to do a service for us. So say thanks, have compassion. Let's invite them to stay if they can wrap their head around stepping out of those roles. Okay, so we're grateful for all of that. Maybe you get upset because you're sick, because you don't think you deserve, because you have an illness, or you think that your loved ones shouldn't have an illness. Let's discuss illness for a minute. All physical illnesses are reflections of an emotional problem. There is a counterpart to every emotional state, every emotional problem in the body, in the physical body, that is affected. So if you have a physical ailment that you want to resolve, work on your emotional issues. Notice what upsets you. Notice where there's discrepancies in what you feel and how you act. Notice where there's things you just won't think about. Why? Because, well, it brings up emotions you're not comfortable with. Those are the things you need to work on. Try to recognize things you lie to yourself about, or that you're in denial about. And since we lie to ourselves about it, those aren't easy to notice, but you could ask a friend that's seemingly intuitional to maybe point out what they think you might need to work on, especially if they're a projector. That might help, because like I've helped some friends with obvious physical ailments that went away instantly once they became aware of the mental, emotional problem that caused them. And that's the way this works. Your body reflects that which is on the inside of you unbalanced. So you can also heal yourself easily by believing that you're healed. They've now cured cancer in China. There's a hospital that absolutely uses no medicine at all. They're just trained to stand around a person and have the feeling that the cancer's already gone, and it takes like 2 or 3 minutes to dissolve a 3-inch tumor, and they just chant the Chinese equivalent of already gone, already gone, already gone. And that is what manifestation is, to believe that what you wish to be manifest is already manifest, and be grateful for it. So they believe, and they sit there and have the feeling and imagine that there is no tumor. It's not even there, never been there, and then they're grateful for it, and then it disappears. And that's amazing. And it doesn't even have to be their bodies. So you can heal yourself without resolving the emotional issue, as long as you can visualize it and get someone else that is balanced and healthy to help. Lots of ways to heal yourself. The placebo effect means that your mind can heal your body anytime it wants. You just have to believe that. And since you're God, why not believe it? We've just been lied to, guys. That's what it boils down to. And on purpose. We made this game, and we made this game so we can forget who we are, forget that we're God, so we can actually learn something and have experiences that seem new and exciting, and then see who can remember first that we're God, and take back our creative abilities and send ourselves out of the game. And we do this because we are very powerful. Normally, the true reality, whatever you think of manifests instantly. So how dangerous would it be if they didn't send us to school first to learn the value of love, and we were just running around like we are right now, thinking negative thoughts about each other, wishing ill will on each other. In the fifth dimension, that would just destroy the universe. It would be so horrible. So the school is for all of us to learn the value of love, that it's the only way that we operate, and once we prove it, demonstrate it, then we get our full powers, our full creative abilities as God, and we graduate to the true reality. This is an illusion. This reality is a total illusion. It is a hologram, and it responds to your beliefs and responds to your feelings and emotions and intentions. And you're always creating your own reality, whether you know it or not. It may be on autopilot, but you are doing it. So now that you know that your thoughts create your reality, what are you going to think about? And it's not really your thoughts, it's your feelings. Once you feel something to be true, it really manifests. And 2 people believing the same thing is way more powerful than 1 and 1 put together. It's exponential. That's why it says in the Bible, whatever 2 people agree on earth will be true in heaven. My Father will make true in heaven. Try to get some help. If you're trying to manifest something big, get somebody that believes in you to also believe that you're doing that and believe in the outcome, and it'll happen more than twice as fast. All right. What else? What else can keep us unhappy? We just covered illness. Depression doesn't exist, guys. If you're depressed, it's because you think you're depressed, and it's because you believe in a reality about yourself or your situation that isn't accurate. If you think you're unlucky and victimized and have bad luck because people did something to you, that is not accurate. Whatever has been done to you was done for you and by you. You planned it with your soul group, or you attracted it by thinking about it, or by vibrating at a level that's the same as the people or situations that came to you that you think are bad luck. If you want to have a life that is lucky and joyous and magnificent, then don't ever think about what you don't want. Only think about the experiences you want to have, and then that's all you'll get. Tomorrow will be full of what you think about today. So try that, and you shouldn't be in depression anymore. Depression's a choice. Happiness is a choice. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. I have to turn the AC off so it's quiet when I record here in the studio, and it's getting a little toasty in here. It's like 105 degrees here today in Texas. It's 4th of July, by the way. Happy 4th, guys. But I'm going to wrap this one up, and we'll talk to you guys on the next podcast. Thank you very much for joining me. And if you could, if this is of value to you, please donate. I could really use it. Again, like I'm paying rent on the studio and all the equipment, but I can't pay rent on a place to live. So me and my son are staying with a friend. So we really could use your donations. It's not just me wanting them. We mostly sincerely appreciate anything you could spare. And you can also join the supporters VIP super special group, where you'll get access to bonus content, videos of the podcasts, some items from the store and whatnot, or conversations with me, or call-in interviews, whatever. We can do all kinds of stuff. And that would be where you join, and pay like $3 a month. But whatever you want to donate, if anything, I mostly appreciate it. And of course, you don't have to donate anything. Still appreciate you listening, and thank you. And let's unify, guys. Let's take our planet back. Start living in joy. Don't let anybody take your vibration. And I bless and multiply that joy times 100. And happy 4th. Be careful out there, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.